Hey guys, Sean Nalawani of EliteImpactLabs.com, and in this video, by very popular demand, I'm going to be doing a review of intermittent fasting. So I'll be answering the question of what is intermittent fasting? Does the IF approach work for fat loss? Is it superior to a standard 4 to 6 meal per day cutting diet? And do I recommend using it? Now keep in mind that there is a ton of potential research to take into consideration here, and this topic could be made extremely complicated if we wanted it to be. So I'm just going to answer these questions as concisely and to the point as I can. So let's get started. So what is intermittent fasting? Well, to put it simply, the IF protocol is a dietary structure that alternates between an extended period where no food is consumed at all, usually 16 hours or more, followed by a feeding window where all of your daily calories are consumed. So there's no single intermittent fasting structure, and the fasting and non-fasting periods can vary quite a bit depending on which program you're using. One of the more popular intermittent fasting diets out there uses a 16-hour fast followed by an 8-hour feeding window, while another utilizes a 20-hour fast followed by a 4-hour feeding window. And on the more extreme end are the people who actually consume all of their daily nutrition in a single sitting. So secondly, does intermittent fasting work? Well, the quick answer is yes. Intermittent fasting is certainly a viable nutritional approach for fat loss for a few reasons. First of all, it allows you to maintain a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit, which is a state where the number of calories burned exceeds the number of calories consumed, is the ultimate bottom line for fat loss. And any diet that creates and sustains a proper calorie deficit is going to produce fat-burning results. Secondly, the available research is fairly conclusive in demonstrating that a high meal frequency does not raise resting metabolic rate, nor does it increase the thermic effect of food. So consuming 2 or 3 meals a day, which is the number where most intermittent fasting protocols will land you, is completely acceptable from a fat-burning standpoint. And finally, as long as overall 24-hour protein, carbohydrate, and fat needs are being met, there's no threat of excessive muscle loss as long as the diet is combined with a proper resistance training program. So yes, as long as your overall macronutrient intake is nailed down, then consuming those macronutrients in an intermittent fasting style interval is going to produce perfectly good results. Next up, is intermittent fasting superior to a standard cutting diet? Now this is the real important question. Obviously intermittent fasting diets work, but do they work any better than a regular diet that evenly spaces 4 to 6 meals or more throughout the day? Well, the research here is mixed, and it's inconclusive at best. At this point, I can't really see any real reason to suspect that an identical macronutrient intake consumed using an IF protocol is superior to a standard dieting approach when it comes to overall fat loss. There is research indicating that intermittent fasting can improve certain aspects of overall health, but in this review, we're obviously focusing specifically on fat loss. So why do so many people who failed on previous diets swear by the results that they've got using an intermittent fasting approach? Well, the answer here is also pretty simple, and that is that for many people, an intermittent fasting approach is an easier to follow method for maintaining a calorie deficit over time. Again, long-term fat loss is ultimately a product of placing your body into a prolonged calorie deficit, and any dieting approach that accomplishes this effectively is going to produce great results. Many people find that employing a fasting period followed by a shorter eating window leads to greater control in terms of hunger, energy levels, mood, and overall adherence to the diet. And as a result, they feel better and they end up with greater fat-burning results. But beyond the issue of diet adherence, two identical individuals consuming identical macronutrients would likely not experience any real difference in fat loss, whether they consume 2 or 4 or 7 or 9 or more meals per day. So the last question is, should you use intermittent fasting? Well, all things equal, the meal structure that maximizes your mood, your energy levels, your motivation, and that controls your appetite most effectively is going to lead to the greatest long-term fat-burning results. So if you find that an intermittent fasting style approach accomplishes that for you, then that is certainly the approach that you should use. However, if you do prefer spacing your meals evenly throughout the day, don't make the mistake of believing that you should switch to an intermittent fasting approach despite this in order to supercharge your fat-burning results. It all really just comes down to personal preference and what works best for you. So 16 hours fasted followed by 8 hours of eating, or 3 evenly spaced meals, or 6 meals, or 10 meals. If you're aiming to maximize fat loss, all you really need to focus on is hitting your macronutrients for the day and doing so using whatever structure you personally prefer. So I hope you found this information here useful today. If you did enjoy the video, as always, please make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on future videos. And also make sure to join the Elite Impact Labs Facebook page using the link in the description box for daily articles, videos, tips, and free supplement giveaways. Thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon with more free tips.